Welcome to the webinar for the National Science Foundation's I-Corps Teams program. My name is Molly Wasko. I'm one of 3 program directors here with the NSF I-Corps program. I'm joined today by my colleague Ruth Shuman, who's going to be helping us out with questions. If you guys have questions, put them in the Q&A, but we should also have time at the end of the webinar to address any questions. Jaime Camilio is the 3rd program director for I-Corps, and on behalf of all of us, I want to welcome you guys and thank you for your interest in the program. So, kicking it off, what is I-Corps? I-Corps is a 7-week entrepreneurial training program that's really been designed to get you out of the lab and out into the world. And the purpose is to really help you learn how to evaluate the commercial potential of the research that you guys are doing in your labs. So this is an entrepreneurial training program, but designed specifically for people like you, scientists and engineers who maybe haven't had no entrepreneurial background or experience before. You may even have very little experience in the industry that you think you might be able to benefit with your technologies. That is perfectly fine. This is the program that was designed for you. We recognize that you guys are already absolute experts in your technology. So the purpose of this program is to help you become experts in your customers. And so you guys will do that through this training by getting out of the lab and talking to over 100 potential customers. This could also include stakeholders like potential strategic partners. But the idea is really to get to know these customers. Why do they buy things? How do they buy things? When do they buy things? What are they looking for? So by the end of the program, you should have a very, very good idea of what is the market where your technology is needed and how would you get your technology translated out into that market. In terms of how the program is designed, the program basics, so it's designed around 2 basic principles. Number 1 is the idea of customer discovery. So this is the process that we use, actually collecting firsthand data from potential customers. So it's a real hands-on experiential learning opportunity. The second tool that we use is called the Business Model Canvas that was developed by Alec Osterwalder. So the Business Model Canvas lays out the 9 building blocks of every single business model, and that will be used as your guide, kind of your map to your customer discovery. So understanding your customer segments, your revenue streams, your channels for how you would reach your customer. So by combining the Business Model Canvas as your map as your framework for discovery and the process of customer discovery, you will be able to quickly assess the commercial interest and feasibility of your technology in the marketplace. In terms of the program's mission, we really have one mission, and that is to reduce the risk associated with translating technologies from the laboratory out into the marketplace. So here at NSF, we recognize that universities, university researchers, faculty, and students, you guys are really the drivers of innovation in the United States and key to our economic competitiveness. However, we recognize that it's also very hard to translate the ideas that we discover in our labs out into the world. So here at NSF, we invest about $9 billion a year in fundamental research projects. I mean, just think about that, $9 billion in R&D. That is a huge investment. And so with programs at TIP like I-Corps, we really want to focus on how can we help reduce the barriers to translating those ideas out of labs, off of campus, and out into the world. So as part of this program, we hope that not only will you discover something about the commercialization pathway, but as part of this process, you and your team will discover whether an entrepreneurial pathway is something that really interests you. So in terms of the aims of the program, we have really three specific aims. The first one is to support the translation and commercialization of deep technologies. So these are primarily the technologies resulting from the fundamental research discoveries in science and engineering, the fundamental research awards that we provide at NSF that occur at universities and research institutions. The second specific aim is to help address the knowledge and skill gap associated with how to transform these basic research ideas into new commercial ventures. So we do that by helping you understand how to identify customer segments, how to develop a value proposition, really discovering who is it that cares about your technology and why do they care. So here's really the secret is most companies fail not because they fail to get the technology to work. We have a lot of confidence that you can get your technology to work, but they fail because they don't have customers. They don't have a marketplace for that idea. The third aim of the program is to really broaden participation in innovation and entrepreneurship and provide opportunities for everybody in the United States. So we recognize that while some areas of the United States are really active in innovation and entrepreneurship, that great ideas come from anywhere. And so we really want to promote ideas stemming from all areas of the United States. So we do have some eligibility criteria for this program. So first of all teams must meet two general requirements. The first one is that the technology, the innovation, the solution that you guys are exploring must have a connection to a university or a research institution. So it must be an idea, a technology that stems from a university or basic research project coming out of a university. The second requirement is that you must submit your application from an institution of higher education. So by this, we mean that the application, the proposal, is going to be administered like other typical NSF basic research grants through your university. So those are the two requirements for all teams. However, we have two eligibility pathways, and so there are alternate routes to be able to get into the program. The first one is what we call the NSF lineage pathway. So if you've received a prior research award from NSF in a related science or engineering field or discipline that's been active within the past 5 years, you are welcome to apply to the I-Corps program directly. And this NSF lineage eligibility applies to everyone who was involved in that original proposal. The PI, it can extend to co-PIs, senior personnel, any postdocs or graduate students that were involved in that research, and even professional staff. So eligibility pathway number one, a prior NSF research award. If you don't have a prior NSF research award, then you can become eligible for the national program by going through an I-Corps regional program. So here at I-Corps that we have two investments. One is the national program that I'm speaking about now. The other is the National Innovation Network through our I-Corps hubs. So these hubs offer regional training programs. And if you go through a regional training program through a hub and receive a letter of recommendation at the end of that training, that will give you eligibility to participate in the national program. I just want to make a note here that small businesses that do not have an affiliation with the university technology are not eligible for this program. So there are other programs for you, but this is specifically for university technologies where the proposal is submitted through a university. However, if you are a small business, you are still welcome to participate in regional programming through one of our I-Corps hubs. So that's one of the way we are able to extend access to this program is through activities through our I-Corps hubs. So I want to talk a little bit about our hub structure. So we have invested in 13 I-Corps hubs all across the country. Every one of these hubs has 8 to 10 partner institutions. So we have more than 130 participating institutions nationwide. And these hubs, they offer introductory courses, they offer short courses, they offer the regional training programs that can help get you eligibility to the national program. But they really serve as hubs for regional innovation and innovation economic activity for that entire region. And so not only will they provide access to I-Corps training, but they really are the center of all activities around innovation, translation, research, commercialization for that region. So if you are a small business, you are welcome, like our academic teams, to participate in I-Corps Hubs programs. Here is the site, the website, where you can figure out, how to reach the I-Corps hub nearest to you. And once again, I strongly recommend connecting to all of the programming available through these hubs, because not only will it include I-Corps, but it'll have access to things like industry mentors, probably help for follow-on funding, like how to prepare SBI or STTR grants. So besides the I-Corps Teams program, we have the I-Corps hubs that are tremendous resources to build the innovation ecosystem of this country. So in terms of how to apply, the first step is, once you have received eligibility, is to form a team. And we have a very specific team structure here at I-Corps that it typically consists of 3 members, an entrepreneurial lead. So the entrepreneurial lead, think of this person as CEO of I-Corps Startup. This person is typically a graduate student or postdoc that has been involved with the development of the technology, and they really serve as the leader of the I-Corps team and the person most committed to research commercialization. The second role is the technical lead. This is typically the faculty member, the inventor of the technology, co-inventor. This person typically serves as the PI on the proposal, but this person could also be a graduate student, PhD student, postdoc with deep technical experience. Think of the technical lead as Chief Technology Officer of I-Corps Startup. So I do want to make a note here about the PI. We do recognize that a lot of faculty members are super busy. They may want this experience for their PhD and postdoc students, but not have time to participate themselves. So it is okay to have the technical lead be a postdoc engaged in the technology development, and the faculty member serve as what we call the PI of record. They would be the person that would submit the proposal, administer the award, but they wouldn't have to actually go through the training with the team. The third team member is what we call the industry mentor. The industry mentor is like, think of this person as on the board of advisors of I-Corps Startup. It's an industry expert with business experience, ideally with industry experience in the area that you want to explore. They need to be independent from the technology development. So this is not another person in your lab. This is really meant to be a third-party observer, a third-party independent advisor to your team that hasn't, that isn't really deeply entrenched with the technology like other members of your team. You may include additional team members. So the 3-person team is the absolute minimum requirement, but if you have others, let's say 2 PhD students, you can have a co-entrepreneurial lead or a co-technical lead. That is perfectly fine as well. So step 1, form your team. Step 2, submit an executive summary application through the National I-Corps portal. So if you are an NSF lineage team, you could submit directly through the portal. But if you are a hub recommended team that is getting eligibility through a regional program, you must first receive your letter of recommendation and then submit your executive summary attaching that letter of recommendation. So the executive summary, we ask you questions about your team and just very high level overview of what is the technology, what do you think your market is, and how you would approach that market. All right, so the team is going to have to commit to the following program requirements in order to receive an award. So the first requirement is that the team commits to conducting at least 100 customer discovery interviews during the training program, which is 7 weeks. So 100 interviews in that 7-week time frame. The second requirement that we have is that all team members, so that's entrepreneurial lead, technical lead, industry mentor, any co-EL, co-TL, all team members commit to attending all of the I-Corps training sessions. And this training is very, very intense. It includes a 4-hour orientation, a 5 consecutive day kickoff, a closing of 1.5 days. And then in between, you have 5 weeks of weekly sessions that are about 2 hours a week. So it starts with an orientation that's 4 hours. Your kickoff week will be 5 consecutive days. You will then have 5 weeks of weekly sessions that are 2 hours, 1 day a week. And then the closing is 1.5 days long. In addition to the formal class time, we also encourage all of the teams to have office hours with the teaching team for at least 30 minutes every single week. This is because when we have all the teams together in the training sessions, there isn't a lot of time to give one-on-one mentoring specifically to your team, but we want to make sure that you guys have ample access to the guidance and the teaching of that instructor pool, and so we do that through office hours. We also ask that the team be willing to follow the customer discovery process, be willing to take information that you're gaining from these interviews, have an open mindset, take feedback from the teaching team, and then also that you commit to the translation of your technology. It's something you really want to see have a life out of the lab and out into the world. So we recognize that this is a ton of work. So if your team is accepted, NSF will provide your team with $50,000 of support to help you to provide the resources you need to be successful in the training. So if you're accepted, that you will be invited to submit an I-Corps proposal. The award is for $50,000, and really the primary purpose of the award is to engage in customer discovery travel. So with this award, you can also provide stipends to the entrepreneurial lead and the technical leads, but we really want the majority of the award to go towards customer discovery. So with the budget for this proposal, that the entrepreneurial lead role can receive up to a $15,000 stipend. If you have a co-entrepreneurial lead, then you'll have to split that $15,000 between 2 people. The technical lead can request up to $10,000 of salary support through stipend. At least $20,000 of the proposal of the budget, though, must go towards customer discovery. This could include expenses like, headsets or cameras or other tools to help you conduct these interviews. So LinkedIn Premium memberships. But really the idea is to have, give you the funding you need to get in front of customers. So we want you to go to trade shows, conferences, industry meetups, even site visits where you can get to a lot of customers at the same time, same place. So with this award, there's a fixed indirect cost of $5,000. So $45,000 direct to the team, $5,000 in indirect. Also, you will be asked to select a national cohort for the training program. So we typically offer 3 cohorts per quarter. So we have 12 running throughout the year, 3 in the winter, in the spring, summer, and in the fall. So just some additional program information. All of the training will be done virtually. So you do not need to travel to actually engage in the training. Our fall cohort, the first fall cohort number 1 is currently filled, but we are currently enrolling for fall 2 cohort, which kicks off October 14th and runs through December 10th, and our fall 3 cohort, which kicks off on October 20th. So we do have availability left for this year, and then for 2026, that at this time we are expecting to run the program winter, spring, summer, fall as normal. Once again, there's no travel required for the I-Corps training, but what we encourage you to do is be thinking about, what are some of the opportunities to attend a conference or a meetup or a trade show that actually overlaps with the cohort dates. That really helps you get to that 100 interview count pretty quickly. So we don't have limits on, how to conduct the customer discovery interviews. That ideally that is done in person. And what we're finding now is more than half of our interviews are actually being done in person. But you can it can count still as an interview if it's done via phone or video conference. So, in terms of, is this program successful? Do we really have impact in translating technologies? That, the answer to that is a very clear yes. So the I-Corps program is widely recognized as one of the most effective training programs in the United States and internationally, and it's widely respected by follow-on investors because they know that these teams that have done I-Corps have really done the work of customer discovery and really validating that product market fit. So the I-Corps program actually is one of the programs mandated by Congress. And as part of that, we have a responsibility of reporting program outcomes in a report to Congress every 2 years. So at the point of our last data collection, which was summer in 2022, that between the start of the program in 2012 and the last reporting period, we had more than 2,500 teams participating, over 7,800 participants. And when you look at follow-on startup companies that were formed from our teams, that over 1,380 companies were actually formed. So you can see that's more than a 50% success rate, which is pretty phenomenal when you look at success of startups. In terms of follow-on funding, our teams have also been very, very successful, raising over $3 billion in additional follow-on funding. Some of that has come from additional public sources, from research foundations like NSF through the SBIR program, and then but even more important, that private follow-on funding, more than $2 billion has come from this follow-on funding from private sources. So the teams that go through the program have a track record of indicating success. If you look at where we are today, so in 2025, we now have over 3,800 teams that have participated in this program, and we're getting ready to release the next 2 years, so 2023 and 2024, for that report to Congress. And the numbers are, look very similar, but on this trajectory of even better and bigger things. So with that, I just want to point you guys to some additional resources. So here's the website for the I-Corps team solicitation. Once again, these solicitations have lots of very helpful information. Our website also has frequently asked questions about the program. The I-Corps Teams website that we have here will also have a recording of this webinar for you so you can get access to the slides. And then in the middle, that is the link to the executive summary application. So with that, I would like to end. Once again, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. It is greatly appreciated. We're so thrilled to see so much interest in this program, and we will open it up to any questions you might have.